was you down, nigga? Guess what? The beast is out. I only stutter when the city's out, nigga. Watch your mouth, better watch your mouth. You better pay these bills for the
Yo, we are back for a special edition of the Social Music Movement Podcast. Talk about a subject that is dear to my heart. Probably everybody's heart in someone's family, if not half the family, have been through the trials and tribulations that we have been through. I want to introduce to you, before we even get started, I want to introduce to you someone that has given me strength, has paved the way for so many people that have gone through so many different tragedies, being raped, being molested, just by your family, just so many different ways of being abused and victimized, but you still became a survivor of it all. Yeah. I mean, it's probably as sober as I've ever been these days. And I'm just dead ass. Thank you, shout out to my life coaches and everybody else. But I can joke about that stuff now. I can feel, all the trauma and just so many other things, right. So many different ways. And so I thank you. I thank you for being inspiration, for so many others. You see all the young men around me, New York, everybody getting on the line with you, like, you got the young men. When I went to go, what is that? Toucan. Oh. What the Toucan? Oh, so technical difficulties. What? No, this is home. Glockware, shout out to Glockware, Toucan, and the whole family. Always support my crazy stunts. But please tell them just a little bit about just where you come from, just a little bit. Just a little bit, real quick, yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ira Warren. I'm just grateful to be here. Sometimes you think that, you're not going to make it on the other side of situations of, just going through trauma, trials, tribulations, adversity. And then, you ask the question, why me? I've been in PA now for 9 years. I'm from Texas. You probably hear my accent a little bit. I shifted to Pennsylvania, like I said, 9 years ago because I needed to do some healing myself. I needed to heal for real myself. So I know that I had an obligation to, my children and, my grandchildren, just people that just were around me. They looked at me as the pillar in the community, when I was there, but at the same token, I was still broken. Grew up in a home with both of my parents. I was born in Gary, Indiana. And I always tell people I'm very grateful that I have had, that I had both of my parents, because a lot of people can't say that. So when you're going through trials and tribulations, a lot of times it's either one or both parents are missing in a situation. But in this case, both of my parents were present, but both of my parents were broken. So it wasn't like it was a situation where one hand could wash the other, because my dad came from a situation, where he's the oldest of 21 children, and my mom, she's the fourth oldest of 14, children. So back then, that's how they got down. You know what I'm saying? They had a bunch of children, in the family. It was a lot of children. And so the man that I looked up to, that's supposed to be, pretty much outside of God, my second love, which should have been my father, he showed love in a different kind of way. And his way of showing love was molestation. So from the ages 5, well, I could even start with 4. My dad introduced me to porn, sex toys. He was buying me lingerie at the age of 8 years old. And then, penetration and things that, started like when I was 9 years old. And so that grew into like a sick obsession with him wanting to try different things with me. So say, for instance, if I didn't clean up something right, if I didn't do something right, he would sodomize me. Or if I didn't clean the kitchen correctly or let the water out of the sink, I was made to drink that dirty dishwater. So just that piece alone, is traumatic enough, and I'm sure, as time go on tonight, I get into more of my story, but I'm going to let Taleah.
Look, you already know.
I've seen the movie already?
Yes, okay.
I did the movie.
Yes, and as y'all see, we're really about to delve into the underlying, like I was saying earlier when we was outside, the underlying problems and everything. Everybody got hit differently, different way, even rape. Like I've been pulled into a house before, all different types of stuff. And yes, we are touching on Sister Taleah as well tonight, so definitely stay tuned. This is gonna be great. But we also have also to the left of us, we also have Millsy Young. Hey. And if y'all know, Millsy Young has been with us since volunteering out in the streets, hitting the blocks, doing the block by blocks, knocking on doors, out there in the community, doing community events. Right there, 10 toes down with us for years. But he's here also telling his story as well. Between them two and everyone that we've been reaching out to, and I'm stunned and I'm filled with joy at the same time because it always takes someone to reach and engage and touch somebody differently in the way she touched me, and genuinely I was able to touch the people all around me. And it's like all the stuff that we've been through is nothing different for nobody. Might have happened differently, but everybody has been through all these same traumas that continuously play a domino effect in our families and our generations to come and our generations after that. And that's where we're at with it. People really don't. This is taboo. It's taboo to talk about little boys getting touched. It's taboo to talk about little girls getting touched. But good goddamn, we all broken.
Yeah,
we all broken.
We all broken.
Do you understand? And it's like and now you have to give more insight, especially the place where I'm at in my personal life, just more insight, more growth within myself in so many different ways. And so, tonight we're going to talk about that. Millsy, introduce yourself. It's real quick about, why you're here, but, CLDC Soldier.
Yes, man. My name is Millsy Young. I do a podcast, Comfort Level Podcast, a couple years ago. Also, I'm a musician. Make songs. I got 2 songs out now for the Anthem Suburban and Taleah a while ago, doing events, and I like what she was doing, and now I'm here. So now it's time for me to share my story with those that was going through the same struggle but can't speak on it, right?
Right.
But that's very afraid to speak on it. So I'm going to speak on it.
That's good.
Let's get into that. So
let the healing begin.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let the healing begin.
Yes, and I would like you to have the honors of introducing your husband.
Okay, y'all would like to introduce my amazing husband. And I don't say that just to say that. He worked my nerves, but he's amazing. He's amazing. This is my husband, Divine.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Brooklyn all day, every day.
Yeah, Brooklyn originally. I've been in Philly for years, though.
Yeah.
But how y'all doing out there?
It's absolutely amazing. We are going to be amazing and start the healing. Now, you already know Bossy Chick. Yeah, man, you already know Bossy Chick. And again, everyone has stories. Everyone has stories. Her strength from a baby, from being a mother and out here doing it, and going harder now than she ever has before. I can't say nothing, but I'm super proud of you. You're going to keep getting it. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Yep. Always. Yep, so introduce yourself real quick. You want to take a quick break?
Hey, y'all. I'm Bossy Chick 28, model, you already know. I do many different things, but I'm a single parent mother in Philadelphia, and I'm 29 years old, and I got a story to tell as well.
Yep, so if you can, just take us out of here for a second. Take a break, listen to some of the artists we support as we take breaks. But yes, brace yourselves.
I feel like I done had enough. I'm feeling like I right now love. I feel like I done had enough. I feel like I done had enough. I feel like I done had enough. I feel like I ran out of love. I feel like I done had enough. Tell me why the blame's on me, the blame's on me. Tell me why the blame's on me, the blame's on me. Somebody give me a minute, somebody let me know. I've been fighting these demons, been down that road before. Vision around my heart so cold, I done lost my folks before. Daddy ain't here to give me some hope, so many days I spent alone. They wasn't looking for me when I was down, took us some time to figure me out. They counted me out, but look at me now. They doing my moves, they making a bend. Lately I need my cash in the vid. Stuffing they feet, they waving their hands. Hold away, this a new day. I had enough. I feel like I done had enough. I feel like I ran out of love. I feel like I done had enough, had enough. So tell me why, tell me why. The blame's on me, the blame's on me. Tell me why, tell me why. The blame's on me, the blame's on me.
And everything we do it major. Don't play with my paper, put you in the papers. Yo, pick up where I left off, shots knock your chest off. Before the blood stain the ground, my voice fed off. New flavor, Yeezy 700s. Take a work cross the border like most wanted. New Philly boy, I said what I'm in, and I hope these rappers get the news like CNN. Catch me at the House of Blues, see I'm bent. Blade in the Louis case shit get tense. Old niggas that had it, but now they lack it. Hate the young guys, ain't none of you crumb guys. Baby, we can name the place and time. Kill the whole catalog with a basic rhyme. Seats recline, and the Benzie the 450. Real killers, so I got the real killers with me. That's just how we do in the streets. I can tell the way you move that you new to the streets. Philadelphia, gun got a body. Bring the corner with me when I step in the party. Go shorty, got to go shorty. Drinks bring the freak out of shorty, she get naughty. I'm in the fast car counting the cash off. Your buzz short as TikTok, start if you last long, love. More flavor than Craig Mack, now bet that. Finish chunks off before I finish the weed sack. You step on my field, you get sacked. Keep it cocked back, that's just how we react. Got them pistols popping like Crisco. Catch a cold front when you look at the wristo. Chain on meth, got so many crystals. Rest in peace, Chris, yo, everything big, bro. We notorious now, can't heat it back up, cause they watered it down, the new flavor. Yeah, they know we got the flavor. And everything we do it major. Don't play with my paper, put you in the papers, it's major. Yeah, they know we got the flavor. And everything we do it major. Don't play with my paper, put you in the papers, it's major.
It's the backyard bully balls with black hoodies. Niggas feeling real beefy, I guess it's time to cook 'em or rook 'em. Cause there's no palms on my chessboard. Philly where they raised me, but what's where they come for? Kicking indoors, why the hell should I knock for? Flow hotter than the summer, like mama with the stove on. Balls got more balls, more waves than you do rags. Some son of you niggas out here just call me stepdad, it's sad. More likely ridiculous, I'm sending big packages. Trump, can you be us? Respect us. If you play chess, you couldn't check us. Knock your queen off, leave your king, that's a mess, bruh. Tell your favorite rapper I'm your favorite rapper. Cause I got more balls, but the flow is super active. Trend RPs on these rapper shirts. Drop the box in the arena, now I got his feelings hurt. Mama always said, take your time, you gotta put in work. Big bad wolf in the story, man, that's all she wrote. Let me out the cage, told my dogs I'ma go berserk. Flow so butter, watch your mouth, cause I keep the toast. Tryna switch me, no cheese, better play your role. Not Missy Elliott, but this music make you lose control. Never lacking this game on my grind, 10 toes, snakes.
Yo, we back on the Social Music Movement podcast, sponsored by City of Dreams and only at Glockaware Radio. Shout to Toucan and the whole family. So we are back on an unbelievable, unspeakable truth that we are about to. She has been an inspiration. That's why she is also here. You know, the universe, God, the law has intertwined, and she has been just in 48 hours, 72 hours. So much is like people are just coming at me, telling the truth, crying, being happy. Some of my nephews, little bros, and a lot of young women as well, even elders. Elder, you was telling me about it's never too late to be healed. I really want to focus and talk about the different things that your story and finish going on about your father. I think that's where we left off at.
Yep.
Talking about your father. And if you can just re-explain it real quick about who he is and how he started.
Okay.
And then just go ahead from there.
Okay. Well, my dad, he's definitely a country, he a country boy. He was born in Nutbush, Tennessee, actually down the dirt road from Tina Turner. And my mom, she was born in Mobile, Alabama. And my grandfather, he walked with Martin Luther King and all that. So we have like a really rich history in our family. It's just as far as, where my parents, were born and where they came from and things of that nature. But my dad, he stood 6'2". My mom was only like 4'11", so you can imagine, just the height that he had over her. It's almost like my husband. He's 6'4" and I'm 5'4", and he towers over me. But my dad, he was real prolific in speech. He had the gift of gab like no other. So he could get anything that he wanted. He could say one thing. He was like E.F. Hutton. So whatever he said, that was a done. We all did it. And so I watched that, seeing that behavior, from my dad as a child, and not allowing my mom to have a voice. And my mom, she, graduated out of high school. She actually went to school with the Jacksons. Like I said, I was, born in Gary, Indiana before we shifted to Texas in 1980. And she graduated salutatorian. She was very, very smart. But my dad, he had that hole on her, the old saying, kitchen in the bedroom, this is where I want you, this is where you're going to be. So my mom, she fought to be with him. That's what she wanted. That's what she got. Though back then, they didn't talk about people being a narcissist and red flags. We didn't hear those type of terms back then. It was a situation where, you're going to do what I say. And you, it was just one of them situations. You're gonna do exactly what I tell you to do. And my mom was very terrified of my dad, very, very terrified. And so therefore, I'm looking at her like, okay, so if something, go down, how are we, to protect you? Because it was always a situation where he was just pounding on her face all the time. He was beating her all the time. And then it wasn't until later that when, my siblings and I, we began to go our separate ways, that we found out that my mom actually knew that my dad was molesting me, my sisters, and my brothers. So he was that violent, and everybody just had this respect, for Jake. That's what everyone would call him. They had this respect. So he could say something, he could give you a look, and they, it's almost like, yes, master, sir. He just had that presence about him. So like I said, if my mom wouldn't cook his food right, or if she just merely looking out the window as he's driving, if he thought that she was looking at another man, he's smacking her face into, to the window, and blood just splattering everywhere, and we in the back seat like, and he'll turn around and say, you better not fucking say nothing either, this is, and it was always like that. So I grew up just having so much fear, especially when my dad introduced me. The first thing, like I said, the first thing he did, it was pornography. I remember him saying, I'm gonna get this book, and I want you to read this book, and and these are some things, but later on, I want you to do. And I'm just like, what is he talking about? I was like, he damn sure wasn't talking about the Bible. Like, what are you talking about? So I remember at 7 years old, he hands me a porn book. And I open up this book, and I drop the book, and I'm covering my, face, and I'm like, Dad, like, why are you making me look at something like this? And then he was just like, no, because you have to understand that, I'm your first. I'm your first love. I'm the first man in your life. I'm the one that's supposed to show you everything. So I heard that at 7 years old, and as intuitive as children are today, I knew as a child that something wasn't even right about that. I was just like, what? And then that day when it finally happened, when he called me from outside, I was outside playing with, one of my girlfriends, and we were getting ready to go to the park. And he said, Chubb, to this day, before, we parted ways, he went his way and we stopped talking or whatever, he would still call me Chubb. Even when my husband came to Texas to propose to me, he would still call me Chubb. He called me in the house one day. He said, Chubb, come on in the house. It's some things that you didn't finish. And I was saying to myself, I know damn well I made sure because he would take a white glove and make sure it wasn't dust anywhere. My dad was never in the military, but that's how we were raised. And so I walked in the house, and he said, well, come out through the back, Chubb. And I went around to the back part of the house, and I walk in, and I said, Dad, what's wrong? And he was sitting on the arm of the couch, and he said, come here. So I walk over to him, and I'm scared, I'm shaking, Like, is he gonna punch me in the face? Is he gonna bring out a stitching cord, a 2x4? So you didn't know from day to day what was going to be used, to get your ass beat. You didn't know. So I'm terrified, and I was like, well, Daddy, did I not clean up something right? What did I, and he said, no, it's just time, you didn't give me a kiss today. And I just remember that, and I was like, phew. I said, oh, that's easy. So I walk over to him, I give him a kiss on the cheek, and then the next thing you know, it turned into like his tongue in my mouth. And I remember pushing him away, and I was like, Dad, what are you doing? And then the next thing you know, he was like, shut the F up. And he grabbed me by my hair, and he was just like, get in the room. And I was just like, what room? I was like, he's like, get in my room. And so he slams the door behind him, and he shoves me at the foot of the bed, and I'm shaking, I'm rocking back and forth. And he was like, take your fucking clothes off. And I was just like, no, Dad, please don't do this. And next thing you know, that's when, he had sex with me. And it was just, I can remember looking up at the ceiling fan, and I remember just sweating, and I could just feel my little body. I'm 9 years old at this time when this actually happened. And I was a little bitty thing, and here it is, this 6'2" dude on top of this. I was probably no more than 70 pounds, if that. And I remember when he finished, and he was like, get the F up, go in the bathroom, clean yourself up, and it's not gonna happen again. So just so you know, I'm your first. I'ma always be your first, and nobody else is ever gonna have you. And so I remember going into the bathroom, and blood was just running down between my legs. And he said, your mom is on her way back. Hurry up and get yourself cleaned up. Because prior to that, leading up to that, you remember, I don't know if you remember the panties, the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday panties we used to have. It started with a lot of fondling and stuff to where I would bleed, and he would throw my panties away. So my mom, she didn't catch on that when they would go shopping or, buy us, clothes or whatever for school, he would buy me panties like every month. And she probably knew, but, then she just, like, why, where's your panties, girl? I'm washing clothes. You never have any panties. So he would always go out and buy these underwear and stuff for me. But things went on like that for years, So you talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You talking about 13 years of just going through hell with him. And then 1988 rolls around. I was running track. I was doing everything, doing things that, teenage girls wanted to do, go to school, run track, I was in the choir. I was doing all kinds of things. And then I got sick. I was so sick, and everybody thought it was the flu, so down south, ginger ale is the remedy for every damn thing. Oh, you got diarrhea, go get some ginger ale. Girl, you got a fever, get you some ginger ale. So everybody thinks ginger ale is for every goddamn on thing. It's really not. It helps with some things, but not everything. And so they thought I had the flu. They thought I had the flu. I was out of school for 3 months. And finally, my mom was like, okay, girl, I'm going to take you to the clinic. Some ain't right. And so I remember walking into the clinic, and this tall white lady, she said, why, what brings you in today? And she said, well, fill out this paperwork. And my mom said, well, she's been sick. I think she has the flu. And the lady was like, she said, are you sexually active? And then my mom, interjects like, no, she's not. And I'm thinking, you could let me answer that. I'm 16 and a half. I could answer that question. And she said, okay, after I finished filling out everything, she said, well, go to the back, go ahead and, take off your clothes, put this gown on backwards, and, we're going to check you. But first pee in this cup, and then we'll see if you're pregnant. So the lady, she comes back in, and she was just like, you're pregnant. And so my mom is sitting in the corner in a chair, and her fist balled up. And then the next thing you know, she jumps up out the chair, and she just started wailing on me. And the nurse was like, if you hit her one more time, I'm gonna call the cops and da da da. And she was like, my mom was like, put your clothes on, bitch, put your clothes on. So I put my clothes on, and the lady was like, I need to check her. I need to make sure that everything is okay. She said she's not the only teenage girl that has come in here pregnant by a boyfriend. She was like, Miss, don't hit her again. So the lady checked me and everything, and she was like, you far along, like, even though you 110 pounds, you like my stomach was flat. And she told me, how far along I was and everything. And she was just like, wow. So my mom paid for the visit. We get in the car. She's still hitting me. And I said, Mom, stop hitting me. I've never been disrespectful to you. Stop hitting me. And she said, whose fucking baby is it? Whose baby is it? And then I was just like, Mom, I never had boyfriends. We wasn't allowed to have boyfriends. And then she just started hitting me. And then she started hitting me in my chest. It was just horrible that day. That was just the day I'll never forget. And so we get home, and she goes in the room, and she was just like, listen. She was like, listen, she's pregnant and she's too far along to get an abortion. And then I remember just looking up at my dad, and he was just like, well, she just won't get an abortion, we'll just have to figure out, what we need to do. And then his next words were, we'll adopt the baby. You don't say, we'll send you to a school. They did. They sent me away. And then when the baby was born, they said, just say, that's your brother. Technically he is. He said, don't say nothing about it. And I said, no. And then my mom started hitting me again. She was just like, just let us adopt the fucking baby. It just gonna look bad on our name. Because my parents they lived in $500,000 homes. They owned their own businesses. So it was always what it looked like on the outside. But on the inside, it was pure hell. It was pure hell.
So he didn't confess, like, when he adopted him?
No, he never. He never confessed.
But what came
to
out of the
anything.
pregnancy? What came out of the pregnancy?
Yeah, I had my son. My son is 35 years old. He was born deaf. And some doctors in Galveston, Texas heard about my story. And they said, well, bring your son in. These hearing aids that they gave my son, they was like $1 million. I couldn't afford it, so the doctors was like, it wasn't your fault. What happened to you, you have this child. So, I want to be a blessing and so this baby could talk, because Joshua couldn't speak. Yeah, I had to tell. It wasn't until after the fact that some of the story came out, bits and pieces, because how it actually started was my oldest sister went to the principal, told the principal, hey, we've been molested for years, and they snatched us out of the school and sent us to this big house somewhere out in Texas. It was far, and that's how the ball got rolling with that. But it you would be amazed that this story, it just carries on and on and on and on. And then after the situation happened with me in 1994, my dad divorced my mom in 94. That was the first year I married. That's the year I married my first husband. My dad divorced my mom, marries my high school girlfriend, and he molests her kids. Yeah.
Did you tell her when they got married, like, be careful with my dad?
She knew. She already knew. Yeah, she knew what was going on. Yeah. She wanted him because he had money,
Oh, okay. So it's
yeah.
like, okay, alley-oop my kids. I'll do that for the big house.
Yeah. Wow. She was like, well, she said that happened to y'all, not me. I'm like, wow. Yeah. And she wasn't. And it wasn't until my stepsister called.
Did he go to jail then?
Yep, he went to jail. He did. He went to jail then, and this was in 1999. He went to jail. He owned because and her brother. He molested the son.
But it wasn't just you. If correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't just you. Your father molested.
No,
it was all of you.
Yeah, it was all of us, brothers,
boys and girls.
Boys and girls.
Her sister was the one that told.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, that's how the ball started rolling for us to get now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that, but
Yeah.
I just want to
Yeah,
make
that's
sure
what I'm
that everyone
saying.
gets it in
Like
their
I said,
minds.
it wasn't just the
Carolyn
girls.
understands that this man did not just molest you.
Mm-mm.
Then you had a child by him.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother, to me, like might as well just watched and let it go to her for her daughters and sons to be molested by their father. I don't think people understand the depth of what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's actually more common than y'all thought. Y'all think.
Yeah.
People just don't talk about it. The first time I was molested, I was probably like 2 or 3. But back I ain't gonna tell my age. But back then there was no such thing as pull-ups. Remember those old fashioned white
with the little pins.
Underwear. That's the first time somebody took the off of me and molested me and told me to lay down on my little kitty bed. That's the first time I was molested. And the saga continues, which also has been a lot of play. And I didn't deal with it because I was always successful in my life. I never let it until these last, 6 years being in a wheelchair, 5 months pregnant, strokes after that. And it's like now I'm finally dealing with my trauma, like why I go so hard. Just so many other different things that we're actually gonna get into. I just want to hear from Millsy. Millsy, and go around the room real quick. Millsy, and then we take a quick break and then come back and restart. Like I said, we all got a story to tell. And Millsy, last night was epic. I was crying. I was at the studio crying. Like, this is not happening. I got this big budget. F the budget. This is moving me. Like, I was just beside myself. Like, and y'all know, like, anybody that really knows me knows I'm a geek. So, I was just really beside. I'm a nerd. But it's just overwhelming to even like definitely being touched in that way, that and then also again touching other people and amongst me and the demographics I serve, my family, friends, the people I rock out and work hard for in these streets. Millsy Young officials, City Dream Soldier, he got that story just alike. Battling, drugs and things of that sort. So, but we're here to speak our truth.
So, I was, I grew up in a nice family in the projects, though. My dad, he loved God, so he always introduced us to God as family. My mom, she, they would stay at home, so I played welfare all my life, but that didn't matter about, love and shelter. But moving from state to city to town in Philly, and we finally end up at a new part of the neighborhood, and I became a musician then at the age of 12, age of 13. I tried crack cocaine. Yeah,
that's you.
I tried crack cocaine. I was a hustler first. I sold drugs. I was we did a lot of jammies, breaking in cars and strong arming people. I was 12, going on 13, around that time, and then after that, I started selling drugs. So me being a curious cat that I was at that time, at the age of 13, in that new trap house that we had that opened up, I started asking all the fiends, what is it? So one day I tried it. Through a neighborhood thing, who was big time out there in Philadelphia, just part of the city I'm talking about. So I tried crack cocaine. I was getting high ever since 24 years. And in between time, also being homeless at the age of 13, going on 14, I was introduced to this guy, and they said he was a manager. They played off my lifestyle. I was an entertainer at one time just as well, before I picked up the cocaine. But come to find out that he was a rapist from the neighborhood, right? From the neighborhood. So we had these guys out here that's in these neighborhoods, and they're touching just about everybody on their block, every young child that's on the block, and probably around the block. But I was one of them guys, one of them young kids that got caught up in that. Took me to his house, the shelter, helped me out with shelter for that night, and that's when the situation happened where I became penetrated as a young boy by this grown man who was 33 years old at the time. I was 13, 14. Very frail and skinny. My mind wasn't even complete or even mature. I just had stepped out in these streets
You were a
because
child.
I was a child. Yeah,
And none of that is
Yeah.
your fault. You were a child.
I was a toddler, and you was a.
Right. And I will tell
You were
you
left
more
for
about.
dead too.
Yeah, we'll tell you more about how I had to come out of that state of mind of me being a victim, because I always felt like I allowed it to happen, like the crack cocaine, because but so I had to fight through that mentally and emotionally, but that kept my addiction going for 24 years. So yeah, but we have more to tell, more to share. About male prostitution and stuff like that.
Yes,
just as
and
well.
also, shout out to Black Ice, the legendary Black Ice. Working with him, we're doing the work we're doing in City of Dreams, making some heavy announcements. And actually one at 12 o'clock and first thing in the morning, we are letting two go. Two heavy announcements to go. But also the creation of Roland's Heart. And of course he will tell you more, but I just want to speak about it now, because it's something dear to him. But there's a program, made from his brother. He'll tell you the story, but it's also targeted, and it's for everyone, but for musicians and the musicians lifestyle. Do you understand me? Like it's not, in that whole realm, it's a whole nother beast out there, amongst celebrities and young kids and other things, pop perks, and all these blicky songs. I'm like, what do they say? Telling the kids, little girls come suck they like what, so that's definitely already that's in progress right now. Curriculum the arts, so that is finding inspiration. It's not there. Certain places, but I've been told that they don't want to go in different places like Jebs and all them. It's not their lane, and the drug scene and all that in the music and entertainment world is something different. Especially when they use it for creativity and all that stuff, and they just don't get it. I mean, so it's from one musician to another. They have experienced, have seen it, everything, amongst under the sun, and they can truly touch and engage with people. So shout out to Black Ice, Roland's Heart.
For Black Ice.
For real.
That's what's up. Yeah, they definitely need it now.
Absolutely. So we definitely look out for that. So please, do you ask me wanted to speak today?
Yeah. I'm introducing Yellow Mellow. So
you can say now on the social music.
Yeah. Just go ahead.
So you can say what you want. You can say what you want. I'm behaving myself right now.
Yeah. Get your mic. Get your mic.
Right. Tell them bitches, get your kids out these streets. I'm just behaving myself right now. Oh, yeah.
Turn it on.
Is it on? Yeah. Nope. Yep. Turn it on.
Yeah, it was on.
Check it again.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
It's on.
Go
Okay. I thought it was on. Again, my name is Divine, and I'm the awesome husband of Ira Warren. But I'm just gonna give y'all a little glimpse of, real quick. I don't want to hold things up, but I was originally born in Brooklyn. I'm originally from Brownsville, Brooklyn. If anybody know about Brownsville, you would already know what it was. I remember when we used to come down here, me and my little brother used to come down here when I was a kid. We considered Philadelphia the country because where we was from, it was just different. That's the easiest way I could put it. It was different. I grew up in the projects called Tilden Projects, right across the street from Brownsville Projects, which was the neighborhood, and it was like being in a black concentration camp. Wasn't no white people, Spanish people. It was black and Hispanic people, predominantly black people. The only people who were there that were white were the people that owned the store. I rented out the buildings around the projects, but other than that, it wasn't too many there. If they was past the time it was getting dark, they would get robbed. So you grow up in that kind of environment, you start to learn how to adjust and maneuver through it. Or if not, you're going to be taken advantage of. So I just wanted to give you a little idea where I'm from. And growing up, I was taken advantage of, but my story has a little twist on it because the first time that it happened to me, I was at my previous babysitter had got sick. She was an older woman. Her name was Miss Pearl. May she rest in peace. She was sick and she was put into the hospital. So it was a friend of my grandmother's. My grandmother's friend, right, had her daughter and I was her granddaughter, and I don't even know who the other lady was. I think it was her niece or whatever. Being that Miss Pearl was in the hospital, my mom was trying to find me a place real quick to go to a babysitter because she worked, right? So, and my grandmother couldn't do it because my grandmother was working at the time. And so they sent me to a new babysitter's house. And that's how it happened to me. And it happened to me from a female.
Yep.
And I was maybe the first time, I'm going to say I was about 6, 7 years old, something like that. And even when I was asking my mother before she passed away, when I finally told her, I was trying to gauge the age because I know it was around that time. She was like, yeah, when you went from that babysitter to that babysitter, you was around that age. And the crazy part with me, I was like 6. The girl was like maybe years older than me. I don't know how many years older than me. I know she ended up having a baby not too long after, you know, she took advantage of me. But I was going to that babysitter for a little while, and her grandmother used to drink. Her grandmother used to drink liquor, so I used to notice the little bag, you know, the little things you see, little brown bag. She dip it to take a little swig, you know, then she tuck it, and I didn't know what it was, but I just remembered the brown bag. You know, you would never see the bottle or what she was drinking, or even if she put it in the little cup. She had a little joint like that. She put it in a little cup. She'd put it, and then she would just tuck it, right? So she was a number player. I remember she'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to play my numbers." And during that time, her granddaughter, and it was another lady who I think was her niece or something, I don't know who she was, and she was like maybe grown or about 18 or so. So when the grandmother would go out, my grandmother's friend, when she would go out, that's when it started. And it didn't take off like, oh, she just came straight at me and was trying to get some. No, she was like, oh, you know, you're going to be my little boyfriend, and we could play games. And the crazy thing, when this was going on, I wasn't the youngest child that was there.
Wow.
They was leaving. It was like, because I remember I'm like 6, 7, somewhere around there, and it was a little kid crawling on the floor with Pampers. So this baby must have been like maybe 1. Then it was some was like 2 or 3. So the grandmother would roll out. Sometime the niece or whoever she was would be there. Sometimes she wasn't. So we was left with the granddaughter, and then she would have us come on the floor. Then she would have the 2 kids kissing, and then you know, like playing little games as if it was a game. She was maneuvering and
Doing
manipulating the
process.
situation as if it was a game. So she would have 2 little kids playing that were younger than me. You know, they're playing almost like they were wrestling, but they wasn't wrestling. Oh, give him a hug. Give her a hug. You know, that kind of stuff. And then it went on like that. So then I kept going back. And it was one day her grandmother went out again. And I remember it was me, her in the room, and it was another little kid. And the kid was crawling on the floor. So then she put the kid out the room. The niece or whoever she was out there. She put the kid out the room, and then we was in the bed, right? So she was like, yeah, you know, this is what little boyfriends do, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, huh? And so she started taking off my pants, and then, you know, she was touching me and all that, and then she gave me oral sex. Now, I told you I was like 6, 7 years old. So the bad thing in my mind, how he was saying, you know, you feel as though you did something. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, it felt good. I'm not trying to make anybody feel no kind of way. It felt good, but I knew it was wrong at that age. But who was I going to tell? Because the crazy part was the lady, the niece, whoever she was, she came in the room and saw what she was doing. We were underneath the covers. The girl I was in the room with, she pulled the covers down. We butt-ass naked. The lady looks at us, smiles, and closed the door back. Her grandmother never even came back that day. We was in that room for hours.
Wow.
Grandmother never came back that day.
6 or 7.
And the lady, like I said, she was.
That's what I'm saying.
She was
Did she set it up?
early 20s or maybe 18, 19 years old. She was nowhere near our age, right? So that happened. That was the first time. And then that continued to happen. And then it was still the little manipulation. She had the little kids playing with each other and touching. But she never, not when I was there, she never did nothing to the younger ones. It was like she was on me. And then she was trying to get me to mess with another girl, touching all that. So it was like,
She was attracted to you.
yeah, and it just went on. It went on like that. It went on like that. And then Miss Pearl ended up getting, you know, she was in the hospital for a while. She had surgery. And then when she got out, I still couldn't go. So I was going there for months. And to be honest, it went on, and I never told nobody.
Yeah.
And so how old were you?
I was maybe, when I stopped going there, I was going there for like, I don't know how many months, but I know my old babysitter, she was really doing bad. So she was down at least about 5, 6 months. So I was going there like 5, 6 months, like Monday through Friday. And it was going on. And like I said, she didn't start it off straight on the sex tip. You know, it was like, oh yeah, hey, give me a hug. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it was the grooming
Yeah, but
That's the
process.
grooming process.
they
Yeah.
were grooming
The
you.
grooming
Exactly. They were
process.
prepping you and
Exactly.
grooming you. You know, and so many different telltale signs that a lot of people is, you know, sometimes you see it and then you just let it go over your head. But the signs are there. They're there.
And she was years
All the
younger.
red
than
flags.
me. I mean, she was years older than me.
Yeah, exactly.
She was years older
But I
than
want to
me.
know that the woman, just like when I was a child, believe it, the first time somebody gave me cocaine, I was only 13 years old, and this girl told me she was a woman. She was like, "Come here," and did that. Somebody that was watching it went against the wall and slid down. Like, no, why? And was going after her like, yo, why you do that? I mean. But that has been, coping, watching my mother commit suicide over, as a child, like, knowing I know to call 911, 4 years old, being molested, like I said, even with the first time somebody was my uncle. But then as soon as he was done with me, he'll go straight over to my brother's room. I mean, and it's like, how many of us, so I'm actually really being real, y'all. But how many of us, so many different ways, and I don't think we're done. We're definitely not done, especially the people that have reached out. They want to tell their story, different things. Ms. Irish, she has a program called Breakthrough, and another program she's developing, and it works. Yeah. It works when we're able to hear someone strong enough to do it for real. Yeah. And to be there and be that voice. Do you understand me? Yeah. So if you can fix me, baby, you good.
Yeah, you can fix anybody.
So with that being said, so what got you to heal? Were you ever at a turning point in your life? And I'm speaking to all you guys. At a turning point in your life to say that you wilded out, that it took you a while to get yourself together, get your
yes.
It
definitely takes
the wilderness.
It definitely takes some time. Just like me, I knew that I was very surface with how I was leading my life. I knew I wanted to be the best mom that I could to my children. That was my focus. That was my aim. And they tell me all the time, Mom, you're an amazing mom. And I felt, I feel good when they tell me that, but on the inside, I dealt with so many demons because I was doing a lot of self-sabotaging. Yep. I would use those, those Brillo pads that you use to scrub pans with. I would scrub my private parts with that until they would close shut. So I would have to go to the hospital every 6 months, and they would have to make an incision, and I hated the thought of just breathing. I didn't want to be, I was very suicidal. I had a lot of things going on, and then I ate myself all the way to 400 pounds. I should have brought those pictures.
You should have. I still don't believe it.
I was 410 pounds. Yeah, I was 410 pounds. I ate my way to that. I was like, nobody's going to ever touch me again. And then I forgot this part, because at 9 years old, I didn't even know we had this stepsister. My dad had a child outside the marriage. I don't know if he told mom or not, because it seemed like all of us were surprised when he said my oldest daughter is coming, to see us for the summer.
Now, did he?
In '79.
Now, did he touch her as well?
I don't know, because she was living with her mom in Chicago.
Okay.
And so when she came to visit, it was December of '79. I'll never forget it. And and I was like, man, I said, wow. I said, I have another sister. I said, but Cher gonna always be my oldest sister. And so everything started out cool. And then it was bath time. We had a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. It was a small house. It was like 1,036 square feet. It wasn't a big home. And my mom said, well, Nell, you and your stepsister, y'all take y'all bath together, and Shalonda, you can take your bath together by yourself or whatever. And next thing I know, she wanted to play with the Mr. Bubbles. And I'm just like, okay. I said, okay, I'll be an old lady, because I used to love to act and stuff like that when I was a little girl. And it took a turn. She said, well, I'm going to be a submarine. I'm going to go underwater. And I was just like, oh, okay, girl. I ain't thinking of nothing. She goes underwater. Next thing I know, my legs are spread, and she's, performing on me. And then I remember jumping out of the tub, and I ran to the room. And my sister said, what's wrong? And I'm crying. I'm in the corner, wet, just leave me alone. I didn't even want to talk. And then later on that night, she said she wanted to apologize. She took 2 number 2 pencils, wrapped it in some duct tape, and she shoved it inside of me. And I prayed. When I tell you I prayed, I said, God, I don't care what you do, how you do it, get her out of here. And then the next morning, she get a phone call that her mom had a stroke. and we had to put her back on the Greyhound and ship her ass back to Chicago. And then I confronted her. It was years and years later. I went to Arkansas. And this was in 2002. Yeah, this was in 2002.
Come here, Jordan.
We went to Osceola, Arkansas, and I asked her, I was like, listen, I came here specifically for you. I need to talk to you. And so my best friend was with me, and we was in the back part of my grandmother's house. And I was like, I need to talk to you. And I was just like, listen, I know what you did to me when I was 9. And then the tears just started flowing. And she was like, I'm so sorry. I said, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Now, how old
And
was
I
she?
said that I was 9 and she was about 15, 16. So she was way older than me. So she's in her 60s.
Yeah.
So you had a few people touching you. Oh, so you went to multiple partners as not partners, but
Yeah,
victim.
yeah.
I've been
they call it
victimized.
offenders.
Victimized.
Offenders. Yeah.
That's a lot of court cases.
Yeah.
Just
So
like,
it was
just
just
like,
like,
just like I've been. My truth is, but like my truth is, I've been molested again since I was 2. Family members, mom. This is back in the 80s. I'm naturally crazy. My mom started smoking crack after she was pregnant. I mean, after I was born. So I'm naturally crazy. But in the 80s scene, all that stuff. I used to sit in the car, watch my mother prostitute. And this is somebody that, and again, it's funny you talking about the height difference between your parents. My dad was 6'11", almost 6'12", and I'm just a little bit taller than my mom. So imagine it with some similarities. That's why Hooch keeps saying we do have a lot of similarities. But through being raped, being pulled into a house for real, being held hostage, me and my son Salim, and then he held us hostage for 4 days and couldn't leave the bathroom. Made me go to the bathroom in a bucket. Go to the bathroom in a bucket, and I had to jump out. I act like I was asleep. But I wasn't allowed to put no clothes on, wasn't allowed to leave the room, no nothing. And I act like he got up like early morning to go to the bathroom, and I jumped out the window, butt ass naked. Yeah. But this is the same one that also set himself on fire because he couldn't have me on Broad Street. So my stalkers are stalkers.
He caught
He set
himself
himself on fire on the uptown side, of 66. But just so much, But the story continues. I think we're not done with this conversation just yet.
Because hostages being held hostage with children is real,
but
very real.
my son, but they kept calling because they wouldn't let my son, but he would answer the phone. Wasn't allowed to have a phone. Wasn't allowed to move. He just sent my son to go get food. I was nothing.
That's like kidnapped.
It was.
It
was.
Kidnapping.
But
real
and my
right?
son too. It's like my son, when he'll come to the door, he'll look at me and it's like it hurt because he knew it was nothing he could do.
Yeah.
Even my last marriage, I don't even want to be married anymore. Single life until I die. So-called Muslim. I'm out here acting like they was a lawyer, acting like I got real estate. Just got out of jail. I didn't know. And told me to my face I got picked off when he's watching on the news every day. Yeah, the FDC. That was a whole setup from him. And when I say broke me from starting to know all this stuff, broke me down to my core. I'm just now starting to get myself back together. And it's like mental with him. He hasn't been out of jail since he was 9 years old, longer than he was married to me. So you can see, I understand the mental in him. And the fact that was completely plotted on. It's so many different ways that we go through abuse, and I'm so it fell. So many different ways that we don't talk about it. That what leads us to the other dumb shit, the other coping skills that we get from it, and whatever the case may be.
Right.
A lot of people are like nicest person in the world, but because of all this stuff, I am a manic person. And I have depression, just like so many. Everybody touch with something. Don't not get this shit. But it's levels to it, bro. It's levels to it. So but until we start dealing with our triggers and things of that sort, last night would have been a time I would have run away. Nope.
Yeah.
Marty, I salute to Marty, best friend Marty Marr, Mr. Dance Champion himself. He'll stay on the phone with me until to daybreak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes you need that.
I also know how scared I am still to be in my own home. I'm still not getting no help from the city for that, but we can get back to that. But it's just so much, so many triggers to take people to another place over time. Charlie, your stories are very emotional. I couldn't even imagine exactly, but we are not done, Charlotte. I think we're about to. If you guys don't mind, do you mind if we do another special edition?
Yeah.
Tell more. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We gotta come back in. Yeah, we're not done. We're not done. So we actually gonna be able to update you again on her part next Wednesday,
Yes.
and we'll have a few more
we'll
people
talk
with
about
us.
And I have more to
domestic
tell.
violence.
I gotta get paired.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna continue this because there's also other people that want to reach out. So I want to continue to people that reach out to me. As you fix me, I can't. I can't do. I was gonna call Miss Ira. She got you.
Yeah, because I need some fixing.
Yeah, I need some.
But first go to God and then come to Miss Ira.
Yes,
that's
Because
it.
we ain't
Right
gonna
there.
drain all of her.
I got you.
That
We're
part.
gonna implement that
That
together.
Shout out to Mills and Bossy,
What's up,
Soldier
Sal?
for Recovery. Shout out, bro.
Yeah.
Almost time for you. Actually, I got a whole group. We all say it's gonna go together. Well, I
Yes,
link my
yes.
son out until the event cut to my guy. I mean, it's definitely that time. Leak lovely. What's up, Leak? My guy Lillian, Miss Lillian Winfield for life, you know what I mean? And Sadiq, brother Sadiq, I saw they working until that big. God too. I miss you too, Leak.
I got more to share,
Tanya,
man.
that my
Life
sister. I wonder if
became
she's
very
watching.
serious.
I'm
Yeah.
at the
Prostitution.
Yeah, this
and,
is these stories. This is
but
something
it feels
that you
good.
don't
Thank y'all
share.
for tuning in.
Yeah.
We are about to
In an
actually
hour.
have some other guests each week. It's not going to be, again, just this subject, but this is a heavy subject that a lot of people deal with. A lot of young boys are out here angry.
Yeah.
Angry.
They're angry and I have actually, and shout out to the LGBTQ community, the whole thing. I love y'all. I support y'all. I'm an interfaith. I support everyone. But there's a lot of young men also come to me like, yo, I'm not really gay, but I ejaculated because I was raped when I was it.
Right.
That's just
I had to go through that.
They don't
Yeah,
understand.
I had to go through that.
So
yeah.
still do what you want. It's on you. But
Just
you
be
and law.
true
I
with
got
yourself,
nothing to do
man.
with it. But people are a lot of misguided, hurt, running scared. I have been my whole life. I've been broken. I'm still broken. Jeez. But my whole life. And it's time to heal.
We want you to make it easier to tell.
We share the story, but I'll show you how I got
Wanted
over.
to make it easier for you to
But
talk.
If something happened to you, especially the young bulls out there, if something happened to you, let somebody know.
Yes.
Don't be like me. I told my mom 30 plus years after the fact.
Yeah.
Let
Mom
somebody
didn't
know
even
what's
know.
going on.
So
Because
I told my mom what happened. Well, no, actually, I told her about the memory because she was stunned. I was so young, but she knew what was happening.
Yeah.
That wasn't just my uncle.
I think all our moms knew.
But
Yeah.
to watch them, because he was watching us while she was out getting high and tricking.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
So,
how it
yep.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was stuck with, but he was mentally retarded too, from an accident as a baby. But to watch him go from my room and then go to my brother's room,
Yeah.
and it's like the saga
Yeah,
continues.
yeah. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, where it really broke me, and we'll get back. We're gonna say that for next Wednesday.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
As we're gonna keep it moving, we're gonna invite some more people that she has been mentoring and helping, and other people that reached out to me that want to come on, and hopefully, not hopefully, because I know she will be a strength. Her and her husband, and kudos to this man. I'm not gonna keep you out no longer.
Yes.
Kudos to this man right here.
We are
'Cause
breaking
he still
chains.
loves her.
Yes.
We
I
are
Don't matter
broken
what.
women. I was like, I know
That's
you don't know me,
powerful
but
right
I'm
there.
so quirky. Just give me 1 minute to think about this. You don't know me yet, but I'm really sitting there with a smile on my face. And met her father.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
Judgmental and
Y'all
unconditional love.
did that recovery.
So this is
One-on-one
something different.
stage.
It's time for all of us to heal. It doesn't matter what type of healing. I mean, you
Yeah.
know a nephew, one of the little girls, your niece is probably over there getting touched. Nobody, somebody's doing intervention because your sister is out there. Go get your niece.
Be
Go
vocal.
Yeah, be
Yes,
vocal.
Go get your nephew.
Tell
Yeah.
somebody, open your
Immediately.
mouth.
Yeah.
This
Yes,
world,
absolutely.
Yeah.
they doing everything else in this world.
So
So you
2K
might
and
as
one
well-
song while we got up out of here. I salute y'all. I
Part
think we
two
just started a movement.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I found her
All
lead,
right.
y'all. You know what I mean? So you're gonna hear more from Ira and her husband. Divine Millsy, shout out Millsy.
Mills,
Bossy
Mills.
chick, you know what I mean? Niecy Pooh, you already know. Let's go. 2K, we out of here.
your dreams,
Shout out
Black.
to Black Warriors.